Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me. So, Joe Rogan, podcaster Joe Rogan, had a 3-hour interview with former President Donald Trump the other night. 3 hours. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's something else. 3 hours. I did not get a chance to hear this interview at all, but I'm going to read just a small portion of this article. We're going to get right into it because I think this is very, very interesting and shows you a lot about Trump in different ways. Let's get right into this. Article starts off, former President Donald Trump spoke about how being a politician is a very dangerous business during an interview with Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience. During the interview, Rogan told Trump that, quote, one of the beautiful things about him is that he holds huge events and just talks, adding that Trump has comedic instincts. And he does. Trump added that in the business of politics, you need to have the attitude of a comedian, adding that it is a dangerous and tough business. And someone made that comment some time ago about Trump, that Trump, I think it was actually a comedian, was actually making a comment about Trump and said that Trump, first and foremost, what people got to understand about him is that he is an entertainer. And he's an entertainer. He's not a classical politician, okay? Or the classic politician, rather. But anyway, one of the beautiful things about you is that you free ball, Rogan said. You just get out and you do these huge events and you're just talking. We've highlighted you on the show many times when you did those Biden impressions where he's walking around and doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand-up. It's funny stuff. And you were making fun of Elon one time. It's great. You have comedic instincts, like when you said to Hillary, quote, you'd be in jail. He did say that. I thought it was funny. That's great timing. But it's like that kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like no one had ever had done that. You know what's funny? You need at least the attitude of a comedian when you're doing this business, Trump said. This is a very dangerous business. It's a very tough business. He got a point there. And let me see if I can let you guys listen in on some of this audio clip here.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night.
Percent were politicians and 8% were generals. General Eisenhower, General Washington, right? General George Washington. You had generals. So it's 8% no admirals, 8% generals, and 92% politicians. You know, they're
Oh, this is real long. I just wanted to make sure I was able to get it for you guys, all right? But this is a real long. It's 3 hours. Rogan added that, quote, other than going to war and being a firefighter or being a cop, being in politics is the most dangerous business. Being president is the most dangerous business, Trump interjected. Especially you, Rogan added. I mean, you haven't even got to the election. There's been two, attempts, and they've brushed those out of the news like it was nothing. Yes, they did. Trump faced the first attempt on July 13th at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, after Thomas Matthew Crooks opened fire from the rooftop of a nearby building where he had a direct line of sight of the former president. The former president ended up being shot by a bullet that, quote, pierced the upper part of his right ear. And they tried to say that was fake. People so stupid. On September 15th, Trump survived a second attempt after the United States Secret Service saw the barrel of Ryan Wesley Routh's AK-style rifle through the fence where it had been hiding at Trump International Golf Course in West Palm Beach, where the former president had been playing. It says, yeah, they'd rather not talk about them, Trump added. Imagine if there was an assassination. Oh, God, I didn't say it already. Attempt on Biden. Rogan said, I hope this doesn't get deleted. How hard people will be attacking the right. They will be trying to get guns away from people. Yes, they would. They would try to ramp up gun laws. They would try to figure out some ways to blame you. If Biden got SHOT in the ear, we wouldn't never hear the end of it. And that's the end of that article right there. Yeah, we wouldn't hear the end of it. It's just crazy. Just crazy. Yeah, so that's the end of that article there. Just wanted to read that to you guys, give you a gist of, I guess, some of the stuff that happened during this time. I mean, the interview was 3 hours long, and I, once again, did not see that. I don't think I could sit through 3 hours of an interview. I could barely sit through an hour and a half of a debate, let alone an interview, 3 hours. What was they talking about for 3 hours? Gee, Nelly. Yeah, but it's just a few things I want to speak on. The first thing about Joe Rogan, I don't know a whole lot about him. I mostly know him from that, what was that reality show that used to come on? I forget the name of it. But that was about mostly I know about him. And then he became a podcaster, and he's a huge podcaster, clearly. And he's well known, very popular. And according to many sources, he's a very intelligent man. The times I have gotten a chance to hear him speak on his podcast and so forth, some of the comments rather that he has made politically and in other areas is a very intelligent, very analytical, and he seems to be someone who's level-headed. Okay, I don't think he's necessarily conservative or liberal. I think he's kind of like in the middle. Whatever makes sense is what he tends to side with. Okay, but yeah, at any rate, yeah, this is a 3-hour interview with Trump. Why did he have this 3-hour interview with Trump? I don't know. I have no clue. But I just want to say this. Imagine if Kamala Harris if somebody wanted to give Kamala Harris a 3-hour interview. Imagine that. That's what I wanted to talk about. Not the issue with Trump, because Trump is like the Energizer battery. I mean, people say he's like the Energizer, but I don't know how he does it. This man is in his late 70s, and yet he just keeps going. Maybe that's what his last name Trump means. Keep trumping. He trumps. He just goes along. Trump. He's just trumping. It's just guy has so much energy. I wish I had the energy that he has. And comparing Trump's energy to Kamala Harris's energy is like night and day. And that's basically what it's all about. I mean, there is no way that Kamala Harris could do a 3-hour off-the-cuff interview. I'm pretty sure that Trump didn't have a teleprompter. Kamala Harris can't even do a half an hour or hour interview without having a teleprompter or some kind of fabricated questions before. She can't even do that because and here's the reason why. And for all you Kamala Harris supporters that's watching my video, that you just so upset and butthurt, okay? The reason for that, her inability to sit and do an interview off the cuff without a teleprompter, without anyone writing out the questions for her and giving the answers for her per se, is because she simply lacks knowledge. She does not know. She can't do it because there's nothing up here. Now, when I mean by nothing up here, I don't mean that something's wrong with her psychologically, that she's slow or any of that. That's not what I mean. What I mean is she simply lacks knowledge. She doesn't know how to give an interview off the cuff. She's not able to do that because there's nothing up there. It seems to me that she doesn't read, she doesn't study, she doesn't spend time trying to inform herself. She's had over 3 years to do that. She has not done it. Okay, so she comes off as dumb. That's how she comes off as. Now, I didn't say it. A lot of people have said it. She comes off as dumb. I'd rather say she comes off as ignorant. Ignorance simply means you don't know. You don't know. And that's the issue with her. She would not dare, do an interview for 3 hours. But you'll never probably hear any of this kind of stuff on the mainstream news in any extended portion of time. And if they do, they're going to always demonize it. What was Joe Rogan talking about? What was he doing? They're going to find some way to make it look bad. When there's nothing, what can you say about Trump doing a 3-hour interview on the Joe Rogan show? Other than speak positive about it. What's there not negative to speak about it? He did 3 hours. There's no way. I get drained. Let me tell you something. I teach the new members class every Wednesday night on Zoom. Every Wednesday night, I teach the new members and the new conference class in my church. And it's just an hour. I get drained just doing that hour of teaching because there's a lot that I'm pouring into the people, and I can feel a lot of it. And it's oftentimes lightweight frustrating because I'm way up. And I'm not saying this because I'm so great. Okay, I'm not. Everything I am by the grace of God. But I'm more mature spiritually, and I have more knowledge, and I'm way up here, so to speak, spiritually and in knowledge. And some of them are way down here. It's like they're spiritual babies. They have no knowledge. So I'm talking and I'm teaching and I'm breaking things down the best of my ability, the best God gives me. And they'll stop me and say, okay, so what does this mean? I'm like, I got to go right back over what I just said. And I clearly explained it the best way I possibly could. And they still wouldn't understand. That's frustrating and it drains me. So by the end of at the end of the hour, I'm drained. I am drained. And that's just an hour. Imagine speaking for 3 hours with a person asking you a ton of questions and you just talking. But that's Trump. He has that energy. He has that zeal. And he's constantly doing these rallies. I was hearing somewhere that Kamala Harris took a break from the rally. She took a break and took a vacation break or something like that. And with 2 weeks left before election, she takes a break, you know. In my opinion, she is in no position to do so. She can't afford to do that because what I'm understanding is that she's losing in the polls. Okay. Now, I don't care what the mainstream, somebody somewhere is telling the truth, somebody somewhere is telling a lie. Mainstream media will tell you she's winning. Conservative media polls say she's losing. Who's telling the truth here? In my opinion, I believe the conservative side is. Okay. But hey, who knows? We'll have to wait till election day to see what happens. But at any rate, this is just insane. 3 hours. I mean, hey man, I commend you for that. That's what I want to say. I commend him for doing 3 hours of a podcast. I mean, man, this guy has energy that is off the cuff. But Kamala Harris, she wouldn't dare do that. She would not dare do that. And I'm wondering if Joe Rogan has ever asked Kamala Harris to come on his show and do a podcast. To be honest with you, I would if I was him, I would ask her. Even if he's not in support of her, I would ask her just to see if she would do so. You know, this, and in my opinion, this would be a test for her. If she decides to say, okay, if Joe Rogan asks her, come on a podcast, I want to do a podcast with you and interview you. And she says, okay, yes, it would be a test, in my opinion, for her. But knowing the way she is and knowing how her campaign strategists are, they'll probably say, no, give us about 2 weeks. Or a few days, well, give us a couple of days, 2 or 3 days before we can come on there and have this interview. In other words, we want to prefab the questions and we don't want you to say this, don't ask her this, don't ask her that. I don't think Joe Rogan would be that kind of person. You probably be like, man, y'all about to go to, you know what? There's no way I'm finna sit up here and let you guys dictate to me how to do this interview if he was to do it. But if that was to be the case, I'm pretty sure her campaign strategists and her campaign people would be like, no, give us some time. We need some days. So basically, so they could prepare her psychologically, mentally, emotionally, everything else, because she just doesn't have what it takes to do something like that. And it isn't because, like I said, it isn't because she's mentally incapable in terms of her neurological patterns and path. And that's not the issue. It's not like she has mental decline like Biden does. That's not the issue. The issue is there's just nothing up there. She doesn't study. She doesn't read. She's not informative. She doesn't have any information. And that's what makes her look goofy. That's what makes her look dumb. It is what it is. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that I think this is interesting. And hooray for Trump for doing this, man. 3 hours, bro. I struggle. I barely make it through an hour doing a new members class. Okay, for the reasons that I just stated earlier. And you doing 3 hours, hey, I commend you, brother. At 70-something years old, more power to you, brother. But that's what I had to say about that. What do you guys think about this? Have you guys seen this Joe Rogan podcast interview with Trump? If so, leave it in the comment. Give me your opinion on that in the comment box. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.